It's yet another day that you feel confused by your hunger, and I know you know what I'm talking about. You are left in this situation where you're thinking that you're feeling hungry, but then you think, maybe I'm bored, maybe I need to drink some water, maybe I need a piece of fruit, maybe my body is just trying to trick me. And you're left feeling like, well, what do I do? Do I honor my hunger? Do I eat something? Do I not? I should probably resist this. And I think this just really speaks to how confusing hunger can get over time, especially considering the impact of diet culture on your relationship with food. So I want to get into why this happens, why you feel so confused by your hunger, why it feels confusing to honor your hunger. And I want to talk about some specific things that you can do if you feel confused about honoring your hunger. Because let's be real, the recommendation around just honor your hunger and you're all done can feel really overwhelming and scary when you have been restricting your food intake for some time, when you've been dieting, and when you exist in a culture that tells you that your body is just a big liar, that it doesn't have your best interest at heart, and that it's just trying to trick you into eating. And so redeveloping a new relationship with your body so that you can understand your hunger cues is going to be an essential part of this. But there's a lot more to it. Be sure to check out the free resource that I have for you below. It is a journaling calendar all related to healing your relationship with food and your body, with specific questions and activities that you can do and work on every month this year that will assist you and help you on your healing journey. My name is Catherine Metzeler. I'm a registered dietitian, certified intuitive eating counselor, and eating disorder specialist, here to help you create peace with food and your body so that all of it takes up less headspace and you can live the life that you want to be living.
You definitely want to take a listen to this.
How many times have you asked yourself, am I truly hungry? How many times have you gotten stuck in cycles of doubt around your hunger? How many times have you tried to eat a piece of gum or drink a glass of water or eat a piece of fruit only afterwards to find yourself still wanting the thing that you were hoping to eat, and or just feeling like, actually I'm still hungry, that didn't resolve it. And then you feel like there's something wrong with you because you can't figure it out. Why can a glass of water work? Why can't a piece of fruit work? And all of this is what leads to the confusion around hunger. So let's talk about two common reasons why you feel disconnected to your hunger. The first big, huge one is because you exist in diet culture. I recently made a video that you can check out related to what is diet culture if you're not sure. And part of existing in diet culture means that you have been told so many things about you, about your body, about your hunger. And this includes, but isn't limited to, constantly going on diets or lifestyle programs. And a really common experience in these lifestyle diet programs is that your body can't be trusted. That's the messaging, at least. And you should try to trick it by eating really voluminous foods like fruits and vegetables. You should try to avoid eating more at any cost. You should try to eat to 80% fullness, and all the other, honestly, really unhelpful, if not outright harmful recommendations that are out there. So what happens then? What happens as a result of existing in diet culture and going on diets? Eventually, your trust is completely eroded with your body. The more and more you practice not honoring your hunger when your body is speaking to you, the more disconnected you get to the signals and signs over time, which can be very subtle, very, very subtle. The other really common reason to be disconnected from hunger and that it feels confusing is because you are disconnected from your body. Now, as I mentioned, this can be a result of existing in diet culture and going on diets and restricting your food intake. It can also be a result of having to disconnect from your body as a means of survival. And what I mean by that is when we experience really difficult things in our childhood home or out in the world, or a combination of both as kids and as adults, disconnecting from our body, not being in our body, not feeling what's happening in our body, can be a way that we figure out how to get through really difficult things. And so a lot of times, for example, when I ask someone, what does hunger feel like? Where do you feel it? They'll say, I have no idea, because there's this felt sense of numbness. So it's important to note that difficult or traumatic things, difficulty with existing in the world, depending on your lived experience, can also contribute to you feeling disconnected to your hunger. That most certainly is not your fault. Actually, none of this is your fault and really has to do with the systems that we exist in and the impact that that has on you. So what do you do now? You are in a place where you're thinking, I want to heal my relationship with food. I'm tired of feeling confused about my body's signals. I don't want to diet anymore. But where do I begin? How do I start reconnecting to my hunger cues? And while it can be a process and it takes practice, here are 3 things that you can do right now and start implementing so that you can start to develop a greater sense of connection to hunger. And one thing I do want to mention is that we don't want this to turn into the hunger fullness diet as we're healing our relationship with food, which means if we can't pinpoint exactly what kind of hunger we're feeling, or if we can't get it just right, then we shouldn't be eating. And also that applies to fullness, that we need to stop at this perfect point. All of this, and I want to encourage this for you, is a process of exploration. Beginning anew, starting where it was taken away from you, which often happens as kids. We're all born as intuitive eaters. And so we start with that. We take a couple steps back and begin anew with a very curious eye, really encouraging ourselves that perfection has no place in this process. And it isn't about doing it right. It's about continuously practicing a new skill. And with that in mind, seeing that for many of us, our experience with being intuitive eaters was taken away from us as a young kid, or when we were just younger adults or teenagers, through dieting, through food rules, through restriction, through difficult experiences. So when you start, the first thing that I want to encourage you to do is really approach this with a beginner's eye. And what does this mean? Think about how you might have done it as a kid. What would you have gotten curious about? And one of the ways that we can do this, for example, is having either a piece of paper or on your notes section before you start eating and then after you eat, write down what it is that you're noticing if you're thinking that you're hungry. Is it a sensation in your stomach? Now, not everybody feels hunger in their stomach until it's often too late. So is it that you're feeling like you can't concentrate? Is it that there's a sensation in your throat or a taste in your mouth? Is it that you're feeling irritable? And that's a sign for you. Approach it like you've never known hunger before. And as a side note, oftentimes when we are dieting and restricting for some time, we only know hunger when it's very extreme. So this is a way that we can start doing this. Beginner's eye, writing down what you're noticing and not having any expectations in the process. You don't know your hunger and all the nuances because you've been told that it's either this or it's this and nothing in between. And so approaching it with a beginner's eye can be really helpful. The second thing to do, and this is gonna take a lot of practice and reminding, especially if there is any distrust that you hold around your body, is to continue to remind yourself, and you can do this by creating an affirmation or writing it down somewhere, that your body is not trying to trick you. Your body is on your team, it's on your side, it has your best interests at heart. And what happens when we diet and restrict our food for some time, part of existing in diet culture as well, and the impact of that, is that we start to distrust our body. We start to think that it is against us. But when you diet, your body doesn't know when it's gonna get food again. Your body doesn't know whether or not it's gonna be nourished. Your body just exclusively has your survival at its heart, if you will. It really wants you to survive and be well. And so if you're feeling hungry constantly, then that likely means that you are not eating enough food. Now, it could indicate something else, but for the most part, and from my experience, that's usually what it tells us. And that is a starting point, consistently honoring your hunger while reminding yourself that your body is not trying to trick you. There's no such thing. It really, really, really no such thing, despite what we're told, because that really is the messaging. And the third thing to try is to keep trying to honor your hunger. I think this one, honestly, is one of the most important steps in learning and understanding your hunger better. So what does this actually look like? What it means is that when you're starting, when you've been denying your hunger for a long time, when it feels confusing, it's gonna feel kind of messy, and the questions will come up. Am I actually hungry? Am I bored? What do I want? Is this something else? Is this anxiety? What's this feeling? You're gonna have all kinds of questions. And my offering to you is, when in doubt, honor your hunger. This is the only way that you can get curious and gather information over time. Am I hungry? I'm not sure. What am I noticing? Okay, let me write that down. Let me try to honor my hunger. Let me get what I'm thinking and wanting to have. And then let me notice how I'm feeling afterwards. Were the sensations that you were feeling before, do you feel them afterwards? Did they dissipate? If something did, that might be an indication that that's when your body is asking you for food. It is a practice of continuously honoring your hunger. And as an aside, the more that you can practice honoring your hunger, the more you will feel at ease with stopping when you're full. They are interconnected, and I've talked about this in other videos, that in order to be able to stop when you are comfortably full, part of what needs to happen is that your body knows that it has unconditional permission to have food and that you're consistently honoring your hunger in that way. When in doubt, honor your hunger. Say yes and see what happens. In summary, we've talked about why you feel so confused by your hunger related to the experience of existing in diet culture and going on diets, as well as disconnecting from your body as a way to survive and move through the world and get through difficult things. We've talked about 3 things as well that you can start today to start sorting through the confusion of why hunger feels so confusing and why the signals in your body feel so confusing. Remember that none of this is your fault. This isn't an indication that there's something wrong with you or that you're doing anything wrong. This just means that you're human and you exist in this culture that makes everything really difficult when it comes to food and tries to tell you that you are not the expert of your own body and somebody else is, or some other organization is, or some diet is. And so remember that practicing these skills around honoring your hunger, getting curious about it, is a way that you can reclaim that which was taken from you at a young age, or honestly even now as an adult, taking back your own body sovereignty and your ownership of your own body in that way. I believe that you know your body better than anybody else. It just may mean that it'll take time to develop a reconnection to your body to understand it more, and a new path towards respecting your body. If you like this video, I am always honored if you give it a like. Check out the free resources that I have for you below as well, and I will see you back here soon.